DreAllDay.com.
What's going on, everybody? Dre Baldwin, DreAllDay.com. This week's motivation is called Stop Seeking Exposure. Many basketball players come to me every single day asking, how can I get more exposure? How can I get myself seen? How can I get coaches to notice me? How can I get myself signed to go play overseas? How can I get myself a college basketball scholarship? How can I get on a local AAU team? How can I get more playing time on the basketball team? How can I get on the basketball team? A lot of basketball players want exposure. A lot of people who are building their brands want exposure. A lot of entrepreneurs who have started a business, they have a product or a service to offer, are all looking for exposure. I'm going to tell you right now, this week's motivation is to tell you to stop seeking exposure. Stop looking around to try to find some exposure. You know why you're going to stop trying to find some exposure? Because exposure, everyone, is not something that you find. It's not something that you seek out. It's not something that if you go to this place and you follow these directions, you go up 3rd Street, go 3 miles, make a left, and then turn right at the light, and then make another left and go 2 miles down the street. And when you see the brown tree, hang a left and go around the corner, and then there's the exposure. That's not how it works, ladies and gentlemen. Exposure is not something that you seek and find. Exposure is something that you create right where you stand. Wherever you at right now, whatever it is you're doing, whatever resources you got, whatever skills you have, whatever accomplishments you have to list, you create exposure right here where you are, wherever you at right now. If you at school, if you at work, if you at home, it doesn't matter. You create exposure where you're at. And I mean that literally, and I mean it metaphorically. This means you don't need to go anywhere. You don't need to email anybody to get some exposure. You don't need to go look on somebody's website to figure out where the exposure is at. There's no place. You don't go on Google Maps and go search out the exposure. That's not how it works, everybody. There's no GPS to find exposure. Exposure is right there where you at. How do you create that exposure? You got to do something worthy of people's attention. You have to do something. You have to be something, first of all, then do something worthy of people's attention. If you go to a conference that says, hey, this is the exposure conference, it's not like when you walk in there, all of a sudden, you're just going to get all this exposure and all this attention to you just because you walked into the conference. No. What's going to happen at the conference? It's going to be people up there telling you, these are the things you need to be. These are the things you need to do. These are the things you need to have in place if you want some attention, if you want some exposure. So understand that if you are looking for exposure right now, you are looking for the wrong thing. Are you looking for fire in hell? You looking for ice? You looking for ice in Miami? It ain't none. It ain't none. It ain't no snow in Miami. You ain't gonna find it here. You looking for exposure? Wherever you at right now, that's the search you want. You ain't never gonna find it. You can work hard all day, do everything, read every book, watch every YouTube video, every motivational speech you can find. You ain't gonna find no snow in Miami. All right, that's you looking for exposure. You can't look for it. You create it. Create it where you are right now. How are you gonna do that? How are you gonna do that? You're going to start being, doing, and having things that are worthy of people's attention. And if you are not someone worthy of attention, if you're not doing anything worthy of attention, if you don't have anything worthy of attention, then you already know where you need to start. But one thing you need to stop doing is looking around for it, because it ain't nowhere to be found. It's in your actions, it's in who you are being, and it's in what you get done. Those 3 things, nothing else. Work on your game. DreAllDay.com. What could you not do with more confidence? Less attention to the negativity of other people, more focus on your goals than nothing else, and not letting unfortunate circumstances slow you down. Would all of those help you out? Well, go to DreAllDay.com/bulletproof. Check out my new 8-week course called Bulletproof Mindset. Get started, and I'll see you over there. Work on your. If you're on Snapchat, hit me on the Snap. My Snap name is @Dre Baldwin. You already know how that works. And I got a podcast, if you didn't know. It is called Work on Your Game. It is an everyday podcast where I talk about getting yourself into the right mindset, that bulletproof mindset. Getting yourself seen, heard, known. Getting the exposure you want and making things happen in your life instead of waiting for things to happen to or for you. Subscribe to that podcast when you're on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Stitcher. Make sure you check it every single day. Make sure you're subscribed so you catch the heat. Work on your game.
Dre Ball. I feel like Dre Ball. When I feel like Dre Ball. I'm ballin'. I feel like Dre